Welcome to the first sessions, everyone, which is about the media and farm animal welfare issues. My name is Jan, and I'm a corporate engagement manager for Thailand of Synergy Animal, and I will be responsible for moderating these sessions. As I said, this session would be about the media and farm animal welfare issues. And I am really glad to welcome our two speakers to share their experience regarding to this, Diane and Heidi. Diane, you work with Merciful Animal India Foundation as a celebrity and media relation manager. And he used to be an instrumental Warner Music and also joined PETA India as an online marketing coordinator. With his many years of experience in media and advertising, we would learn a lot from him today. And another speaker is Heidi. She is the program director for Animal Kingdom Foundation in the Philippines. As a program director, she leads various campaigns, including the successful campaigns against dog meat trade. She also spearheaded in cash-free campaigns for Philippines' national standard for cash-free eggs production. And she envisions that whatever work she does to promote an animal welfare now will help to bring a better tomorrow for animals and the environment. I know just learning their profile is already exciting, but if you'd like to ask them questions, I will open up spaces for anyone at the end of our presentation. So please save your questions for that. And now it's time for our speakers. May I pass the stage to first speaker, Diane? You can take over from here.
Thank you for the introduction, Jen. Am I audible to everyone? Perfect.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so we have 14 participants. I think that's good enough. Before I start presenting, I'd like to give everyone a quick introduction to Mercy for Animals and the work that we do. So Mercy for Animals is a farmed animal protection organization based in the US, but we do have regional teams in Brazil, in Colombia, in Mexico, and now we've expanded over to India. So we've been operational since the last 2 years, 2 to 3 years in India, and we are still expanding towards the east. So we might start, another branch in China or in Singapore. With that said, let me start presenting. Okay, so can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. I'm just putting this in slideshow mode. I guess you should be able to see my entire screen.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. This is the first. Okay, so as you can see here in the picture, this is an image of a rural farm somewhere in southern India. So you can see there's a mother cow, and that's her calf over here. And here's a man who's milking, the mother's milk. Going ahead. So now this, if you look at this square, these are the number of animals killed for meat in India. And these are the latest statistics available to us, and that is from the year 2018. So I've taken the statistics from the Food and Agricultural Organization of the United Nations, the FAO. It's important to look at this table because we need to understand where we want to focus our energy when we talk of farm animals in our regions, right? So from an India-specific viewpoint, this is how many animals are killed. Now, when you look at cattle, cattle includes cows, it includes buffaloes, and it also includes goats. So the total number of cattle, that is buffaloes, cows, and goats, killed for meat just in 2018 is 187 million. And when it comes to birds, that is largely chickens, that's 820 million in a year. And pigs, it's just 8.49 million. So that's a relatively small number. The reason for this is because there are only specific states in India, some states in the south and a few in the Northeast that consume pork, that is pig meat. But as you can see, the large number of animals that are actually abused and killed are chickens. So a big focal point for advocacy should generally be chickens, and followed by cattle. Moving ahead. Now, this is the importance of social media for advocacy. I will stress a little more on social media than I will on celebrity relations. Because when I was at PETA, I used to handle their social media platforms. And when I moved to working with MFA, Mercy for Animals, I handled their social media for over a year until I moved into the celebrity position. So I'll touch down a little more on social media because that's kind of my core expertise. But I'll also take questions on celebrity relations and how you can advocate a little better um, uh, in the question session, in the question hour. So I'll touch down upon each of these points over here. So let's begin with the first one, that is awareness. Now, as you know, most people don't really relate to farm animals. It's wherever you go around the world, it's quite common to have people who are more compassionate uh, when it comes to cats and dogs, because that's how we are naturally wired to think, right? But that's exactly the reason why it's important to raise awareness around farm animal issues. So one way you can do that is by telling people the scale of the problem and how big the problem is. So these are some of the posts that we actually made when I was working as a social media coordinator for MFA India. So, for example, in the first image, you can see globally about 80 billion land animals are raised for food annually. 80 billion is quite a huge number. I mean, the world population is what, 11 or 12 billion? And this is nearly 8 times the number of animals that we are killing, land animals that we are killing. And of course, this has huge repercussions. Also, if you look at the second picture, we have tried to raise awareness about the dairy industry. Now, we know that a cow or a buffalo lives for almost 20 years. That's 2 decades. But in the dairy industry, they're killed within 5 years, at least in India's dairy industry. So basically, the beef industry and the dairy industry in India are interrelated. India is one of the largest exporters of beef, and we are also one of the largest consumers of dairy. And these both are interrelated, and I'll tell you why. So basically, when cows are repeatedly impregnated to produce milk, and once they reach a point, which is around 3 or 4 years, after which they cannot give more milk, they're naturally sent for slaughter to produce meat. And their skin is used by the leather industry. So it's important to raise awareness around some core issues like the cruelty that exists in the dairy industry or in poultry farming or even in aquaculture. Explain it to people in simple words. That's how you build consensus around your cause. You raise awareness and tell people how really um, devastating this is and the need to act as urgently as possible. Next point, engage with the public. Um, so yeah, this is like an extension of my previous point. Generally, every organization will have co-supporters, right? But then you also have people who are more curious to know about your organization, or they might have certain opinions. They might have certain advice for you, or they might provide you with some insight about farmed animals that you may not even know of. As you can see, here is a comment that is made by a person from the general public who just follows MFA. He says that he hates to see street vendors having an income by supporting animal cruelty, and that a lot of people eat eggs or consume meat as if it is, a normal part of their life, and that you would like to see some change. And that, killing animals cannot be an industry. So it's because we raise awareness that people kind of realize, or, there might be people who like also agree with us, and then they come together, provide their views, where other members of the public can also read these comments and then engage with other peers. And then, there's something that comes out of it, right? And all this comment simply came because we just put a post saying that in the egg industry, male chicks are often killed within hours of action. So we just showed what the cruelty actually is, and then we invited comments from the public. And that's what social media is for, right? Um, for people to express their views and to, show your disagreement with something or agreement with something. Next. Another important aspect of social media is fundraising. Yeah, now, as you know, every farm animal organization, an NGO, requires money for its operations, right? And the best way to raise money is often through social media. So you have Facebook birthday fundraisers, right? So if the CEO of your organization or one of the core team members is celebrating their birthday, you can just organize a fundraiser, and people can directly donate via the fundraiser link. So, for example, MFA's founder, Milo Uncle, on his birthday, he organized a fundraiser. I mean, we did it via MFA's account in the US. And this was what he did is basically he scaled Mount Kilimanjaro along with one of his colleagues. So this was in memory of a calf called Asha, who had died in the dairy industry. And in remembrance of Asha, those who could relate to the plight of Asha, to donate to Mercy for Animals for the critical work that we do. So it's not just Facebook birthday fundraisers. You can also use Instagram for donations. As you can see here on the right-hand side, you have a donation sticker. So you can just organize that donation sticker and keep a target amount. Let's say you want to raise $10,000 or $40,000. Keep a target, and then people can just click on this link and then donate money to your organization. Next, connecting with supporters. Now, as we all know, every organization, whether it's a farm animal organization or an organization that works for street animals or community animals, they will always have like a core bunch of supporters, right? People who agree with their work and so on. So you can always use social media to connect with these supporters. Now, for example, over here at MFA India, this account that you see, Sweet Sparkles, she's one of our core supporters, and she's a fashion influencer, to be very honest, and she has a huge following. And she always comments on every one of our posts. So you can always get people who may have nothing to do with animal welfare. They might be vegans. They might not be vegans. In this case, she is vegan. But she has a huge following. So you can always collaborate or do something to raise awareness, right? And the way you kind of bring followers to your NGO is by association. So if you do a collaboration reel via Instagram, or you get some paid partnership work done, or if you ask them to narrate one of your investigation footage or cruelty footage, that's how you get more followers towards your organization. So over here, you see, we just made a post on the environmental effects of factory farming. So it takes like 4,325 liters to produce 1 kg of chicken meat. And it just takes 322 liters to produce 1 kg of vegetables. So what that simply means here is that the impact of factory farming, of animal agriculture on water, far greater than that when it comes to growing vegetables. So what we must understand is that your your organization's core supporters can be potential animal welfare advocates in the future. So, and these people will go and train maybe 10 other people towards your cause. So it's kind of a ripple effect. So that's one of the main points here. That is use your platform to connect with your supporters. Now, the next point is showcase your work. Now, the best way to win trust of your supporters is by showcasing your work. People tend to believe in your organization or in your cause when you have some credibility to show for. So here on the left-hand side, you can see a demonstration that we conducted at Jantar Mantar in Delhi. This was on Independence Day. As you know, the significance of Indian Independence Day is when we achieved independence from the British in 1947. So we used that theme to demand freedom for farm animals as well, specifically for chickens and for pigs. You can see someone here from our NGO in a pig costume and someone else in a chicken costume. So in the background, you see how the pigs are confined in gestation crates and how the chickens, it's kind of blocked by the pig costume, but it's an image of chickens in battery cages. So the ask was to phase out battery cages across India, and that is for chickens, and to ban gestation crates across India for pigs. At the same time, we were working, with different animal husbandry departments across Indian states. We have roughly 30 Indian states, um, to ban gestation crates for pigs. And so far, because of our intervention, roughly 5 states have confirmed to us that they have banned gestation crates. So the last state was Mizoram. You can see this is an article by The Hindu, which mentions mercy for animals. So, so Uttar Pradesh, Mizoram, Manipur, um, and a couple of 2 other states have banned it. We are still in talks with another state called Kerala to ban it. But yeah, I mean, it's an ongoing process. So the end goal is to get them banned across India, across all 30 states. That will be like a confirmed victory for us. Sharing latest updates. So another important function of social media is to share latest updates as to what is happening in the world. Now, what happens with most animal welfare or animal protection organizations is that we often focus more on the cruelty part, which is very important, but we must also touch other aspects. For example, um, um, the fact that animal agriculture is a public nuisance, right? It affects our health. And this is an article from Hindustan Times, which says that 1.2 million people died in 2019 from antibiotic-resistant infections. Now, this is a very underrated topic because all farm animals are fed antibiotics so that they don't fall sick. And when we consume these animals, these antibiotic residues, they stay in our bodies. And then when we take medicines, those antibiotics do not work because our bodies have now become resistant. So this issue was actually published in a very renowned medical journal called the Lancet, and it's quite a reputed medical journal. So we put this across, telling people that AMR, that is antimicrobial resistance, is a leading cause of death worldwide, killing more people than HIV/AIDS or even malaria. So and this is even more important because we have all lived through COVID-19, and we have seen how bad it is. Like most government hospitals were under pressure, even public hospitals, I mean private hospitals were under pressure. So it's all the more important to kind of lay focus on the health nuisance that animal agriculture is. Then if you look at the right hand side, this is a snippet from an event that happened recently. It was called the Himalayan Beacon Festival. It happened in Nepal earlier this month. And we had speakers from all around the world. You can see Fiona Oakes over here on the left-hand side. So she's a marathon runner. She's been vegan for almost 40 years, and she's the only person to hold a world record on 4 different continents in endurance running. Then here you have Renee King Sonnen. So she ran a cattle farm in the US, and her husband used to run the farm, and they were into killing cow for beef. And she had a change of heart, and now it's actually an animal protection sanctuary. They actually take care of cows instead of killing them. So and in the end, that's Maneka Gandhi. She's a member of parliament in India, and she's one of the most outspoken figures in our country when it comes to farm animal welfare issues and even other animal issues in general. She runs an NGO called People for Animals, which is based in Delhi. So yeah, it's important to meet like-minded people across the world, share updates on what is happening across vegan communities, farm and animal welfare communities, wildlife protection groups, etc. But since we are, this event is for farm animals, it's important. What I would say is that always, be aware of what's happening in your country or in your region, and even globally, and try and highlight what's really going on so that the public also knows about these advancements. Next. Another important aspect of social media is to collaborate with influencers and celebrities. Now, as you can see here, the first 4 on the left, top and bottom, are celebrities, and they have a huge following. So this is Anushka Manchalta over here in a Mercy for Animals t-shirt, black t-shirt. And she's a very popular singer based in Bombay. She was a part of a group, and she's an ethical vegan. So we gave her some of our MFA merch, and as you can see, she kind of did a collaboration post with us on Instagram. Then on the right, in a red t-shirt, you have John Abraham, who is one of the most famous actors in our country. He has like 6 or 7 million followers on Instagram, and he did this free of cost. He just sent us a picture of him in a tea, and the tagline was "Be nice to animals." So we turned that into a campaign in itself. Then down here, this is Sonakshi Sinha. She's also a very famous actress who has around 15 or 16 million followers. And we used her image to promote the message that all animals deserve love and freedom. And right here is Aisha Takia. So she's another actress. She used to run a vegan restaurant in Bombay. She's also quite outspoken for the animals. And towards the right is Neha Ranglani. So she is an influencer. She's a nutritionist, a dietitian, a plant-based nutritionist. And she's quite like active in telling people that you can thrive on a plant-based diet and that you do not need to consume animals. And in fact, you can reverse most of the physical ailments, health issues by going plant-based. So it's important to find out who are the core key influencers, micro and macro influencers, as well as celebrities in your region, and get in touch with them. Send them your organization's merchandise, try and meet up with their managers, try to find out their contacts, establish a long-term relationship, and then think of campaigns around farm animals. Sometimes some celebrities, may be reluctant to provide a certain message. But accordingly, figure out what works for you and then take it ahead. Also, here is the Hope Gala. So Hope Gala is the event that happens annually at MFA. So this is like a fundraising event that happens in the US, and we invite celebrities from largely the US and also some other parts of Latin America. So last year we had given we had given an award to Joaquin Phoenix, who's an Oscar-winning actor and a vegan and an animal rights activist. There was Nyoko Shiner, who runs Nyoko's plant-based creamery in the US. And then there's Jane Goodall, who's well known for her work among chimps. So yeah, at MFA, we believe that celebrities and influencers have a huge following, and we can use that following to put forth our message of animal welfare and educate the public. Next, important reason, for using social media is uplifting vegan-centric businesses. What happens is that a lot of these vegan businesses require a lot of support. And it's important to also tell the public that, plant-based alternatives exist in the market and that you don't have to consume animal products. And the best way you can do that is by organizing contests between your NGO and the vegan business, because everybody uses social media today. So here is this company called Wakao Foods. So we had organized a contest with them, and all people had to do is tag Wakao and 3 of their friends in the comment section, and they had to follow both our organization, both the business and our organization. So since most of you don't speak Hindi, I'll just translate to what this means. Pakao means cook, cow means eat, and Wakao, that's the name of the brand. So yeah, we use like funny taglines, hitting taglines so that we encourage more people to participate in the contest. And we also spend money on ads so that this contest post can reach a lot of people. Um, on the right hand side, you can see another contest that we did with Blue Tribe Foods. So they made Blue Tribe Foods makes plant-based nuggets, plant-based kebabs, um, sausages, and several other meat imitation products. So this contest was quite a hit. We ran this campaign, this contest last year in 2021 during the IPL, that is the Indian Premier League. That's like a cricket tournament that happens within India. And a lot of people have this habit of snacking on popcorn or a burger while they're watching a cricket match. So we thought, why not people snack on something vegan while watching a cricket match rather than um, eating something that is a product of cruelty. Next. Another important aspect for using social media is sharing recipes. So there's this company called Evo Foods, and they made the world's first vegetable plant-based egg. So this is a reel that I made on Instagram, a recipe that we made that using Evo Foods plant-based egg. So this is a sandwich that we made. As you can see, these are egg cubes, but they are plant-based. And someone over here commented the mayo isn't cruelty free, but it is actually cruelty free. I mean, got it verified with the company. So there's this company called Hellman's Mayo. Um, their eggless mayonnaise is vegan, but they haven't marked it as vegan. That's the problem.
I'm sorry for interrupting. Could you please hurry a little bit? So I'm afraid we can have too much time. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I'll fasten up a bit. So yeah, we made this recipe. So yeah, you can basically share more recipes and tell people that here's how you cook delicious vegan food. Next, this is another reel that we did with a company called Funny Nanny. They make paneer. It's like tofu, but it's made with watermelon seeds. So something interesting, right? These are some successful social media marketing campaigns so far. One is the No More 50 campaign. So right now in India, we have a very archaic law since the 1950s, where first-time animal cruelty offenders can get away with a fine of nearly 50 rupees. So this is a campaign, to increase the fines for animal cruelty cases. And it applies not just for dogs, it can also apply for farm animals, because there are some calves, for example, in the dairy industry that are just abandoned on the road and beaten up and whatnot. So yeah, moving on. And I believe this is my second last slide. This is a campaign to ban gestation crates. So we asked actor John Abraham, who you saw in the previous slide, and he sent an urgent letter on behalf of us to the government of India to ban gestation crates. to confine pigs. And following his letter and following our pressure on different state governments, five state governments banned registration. And this is the action alert, the website that we created so that people can sign the petition. And this is my last slide. So yeah, this was another demo to ban battery cages. You can see a person in a chicken costume holding the placard and to 40 crore 40 crore hens and to ban battery cages. And this is our CEO, Nikunj, addressing the journalist reporter and her queries about this demonstration. So yeah, this is it. I'll end my session here. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Diane. Very amazing and informative presentation. So may I invite our second speaker, Heidi? I know it's pre-recorded, so please have the video go out from here. Could you stop sharing?
Yeah, I'm on it.
Sure. There you go. Thank you so much. So may I have the video from Heidi up?
Hi, Anne. I don't think my video is very nice at this time. So maybe everyone, maybe you can just play my presentation. We have issues on internet where I am. That's the reason why I pre-recorded my presentation.
Okay, I could help you with that.
Thank you so much.
Hello, everyone, and hi to all those listening across Asia. I'm Heidi, and I'm the Program Director for Animal Kingdom Foundation. First of all, I would like to thank Asia for Animals Farm Animal Coalition for this opportunity to share with you our experiences, especially on digital activism. Please let me introduce our organization first before we can proceed to the presentation. AKF is a Philippine registered animal welfare organization. We have been known for our success in the End the Dog Meat Trade campaign in the country. Last June 2002, we celebrated our 20th year anniversary as an organization. Other than rescuing slaughtered
Jan, we're not able to see the presentation at the moment.
response.
Thank you.
The launch of our cage-free campaign in 2018 opened a discussion on farm animal welfare issues in the country. With this daunting task ahead of us, you might be wondering how this small organization in this archipelagic country called the Philippines is working and trying to make a difference on farm animal welfare. The answer, of course, is social media. Social media, as we know, facilitates the sharing of ideas, thoughts, and information through virtual networks and communities. It gives users quick electronic communication of content, documents, videos, photos, and even personal information. The largest social media network are still Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and of course, the very popular TikTok. According to the data portal, as of July 2022, there is a total of 4.7 billion social media users around the world. For Southeast Asia alone, there is an estimated 506 million social media users in this side of the earth. For its part, the Philippines has been known as a social media capital of the world, with its extraordinary and high usage of time of about 4 hours per day. With that premise, we cannot deny the fact that social media is a very relevant and important media platform for animal issues. Over the years, especially during the pandemic, we have been noticing that photos and videos of animals, as well as contents relating to animals of all sorts, have been dominating social media. They flood our feeds, our reels, my day, my story, every single minute. One possible reason could be they are obviously adorable, cute, cuddly, or maybe because people relate and connect to animals more than any other topics and on social media. Because of this, we believe that social media is an important and powerful tool for activism that we should use and of course explore. Social media allows us to reach wider audience at a short period of time. It also provides that direct, apparent, personal communication to the audience. With proper targeting, content, and good visual materials, we are able to communicate our campaign message and appeal our call to action. Social media also brings together stakeholders. It enables advocates to connect and organize based on their common concerns or beliefs. With social media analytics, we are also able to know our audience response and measure the campaign's reach. Another value that social media gives is that it allows us to build our brand and has also been an effective tool for fundraising. As an effective tool, we identified the following goals to promote our farm animal welfare campaigns and activism. Our main objective, of course, is to raise awareness, spread information, and communicate the cost to our target audience. Through the online platform, we wanted to create an avenue for conversation and engage people, organizations of similar beliefs and advocacy, and to even call the attention of government agencies or entities to act or to do something. We use social media to appeal for change or to take action and ask others to do the same. Thus, it allows us to gather the needed support and resources with the intention that with this social media platform, we are able to make a noise, although of course, online. For us, we believe that the collective act of sharing, reacting, commenting can drive an action or reaction about an important animal welfare issue, and it brings the voices of animals to be heard. With online activism, we hope to be able to promote and address animal welfare and protection issues. But how effective is social media in raising animal welfare issues and in bringing about change? Not being an expert myself, we also do experiment on different strategies on how best to deliver our messages online. We also make sure that we have a very good material and content based on the issue and targeted audience. Despite this, of course, we still often experience what we call a hit or miss situation. To give you a perspective of our social media awareness campaign, we posted these materials online as we thought of riding on current national events, viral memes, current viral situation, or anything that could be or may be hot on social media. We did this because we wanted to make sure that our messages will gain mileage and of course the needed reach. During the pandemic, we posted materials which we call social distancing, or social distancing is not a choice for them. We are very much aware that social distancing was one of the safety protocols being implemented during the height of the pandemic. We related this to the situation of the hens inside cages where they have no choice to do social distancing because of their cramped and small cages. In another post, we took advantage of the celebration of the Pride Month. We posted a chicken in rainbow colors with a message that we all want to be free. Always choose love. Choose cage free. This, of course, has double meaning because it actually relates to the call by the LGBTQ for their rights and freedom. While the Pride Month celebration used to be a hot topic and a well-attended activity during the past events, our posted material did not perform well online. But please take a look at our bucket list challenge post. Our bucket list post, which is a ride on the popular bucket list meme, performed better and even reached 31,000 people and an engagement of about 3,000 comments at that time. As another example, I'm showing to you this short video clip. This is a simple 10-second video that was also posted on Facebook, encouraging people to join cage-free movement. As you notice, its messaging is direct, it has nice musical background, and very pleasant to the eyes. No matter how simple it was, surprisingly, this video has reached more than 500,000 people and 11,000 views. Hit or miss, of course, these social media posts are certainly, or on a certain degree, would reach a number of audience and thus would make your campaign for purposes of awareness be successful. As useful and helpful, however, social media or digital activism had always or also been marred with issues. Some online campaigns are being faked or embedded with wrong information and exploited for fundraising and other purposes. Animal protection and welfare causes have not been spared in the name of popularity, following, likes, viral status, and fundraising. This may affect legitimate groups and organizations and may have impact on the success of causes being lobbied online. It is therefore important for us or for all groups to always use social media activism responsibly and to keep their material truthful and accurate. Despite certain risks, digital activism promises an intense effect in terms of spreading awareness and information with its capacity to spread widely. But is awareness enough to make that change? Does the number of likes, reactions, and shares make a difference? Did it create a significant impact to improve the welfare of farm animals? For us to be really effective, digital activism must still be accompanied with other media strategies and physical actions to have a real meaningful impact and results. As an example, in 2018, AKF exposed through social media a cruel practice on animal flooding. Because live carabaos are being sold in the auction market for meat, some sellers would force water into the carabaos. This painful practice is called flooding, and this involves forcing the carabao or the water buffalo to drink water before they are being sold in the market. This is an attempt to increase their weight and, of course, to peg a higher price. While this post shocked netizens, it gathered very low engagement and reach in social media. Also, in another online campaign, social media helped in exposing bullfight in one province in the Philippines. In January 2019, we had received reports about an event that involves bullfighting or what our locals call pasungay. Sungay or horn is the term used in the festivity. Pasungay is celebrated every third Saturday of January. In fact, we are not even aware that there is such a popular festivity of bullfighting in that province. According to the locals, Pasungay is actually a 100-year-old tradition in honor of their saint, Santo Niño, or Baby Jesus. It is a tourist attraction and a week-long celebration. Alarmed by this, AKF, of course, verified the information with the organizers, and they confirmed that such activity will happen. We posted this material online and appealed for this cruel tradition to end. This social media post generated more than 3,000 reactions and a reach of about 18,000 people. We received both positive and negative comments and reactions from this post, actually. In fact, we were also severely bashed by locals who are supporting their 100-year-old tradition. We also received calls from local officials and supporters mentioning that this festivity is the biggest event that they have and that they have invited international and local patrons and guests to witness. And of course, not to mention those who may have paid their bets. Also, the locals and the local government unit were invoking tradition and culture as an exemption to the law. Because our social media campaign had brought noise and triggered conversation on cultural practices and animals in festivities, we also engaged traditional media. The topic was shown in local and national television and was also featured in various local and national radio programs. Thus, this campaign, along with our campaign on the flooding, we combined social media and traditional media. We also added physical involvement such as meetings, letter writing, and collaboration with stakeholders. The animal welfare issue involved in animal flooding triggered the government to investigate and conduct trainings, publish information material to stop the horrible torture. To date, we have not heard of this practice ever happening as yet. Indeed, this is a happy victory for the animals, especially the carabaos. Also, in the case of bullfighting, 2 days after we posted the material, the local government unit suspended the festivity. In 2020, the festivities remained suspended and no carabaos are unnecessarily hurt at that time. However, in 2021, there was an attempt to revive bullfighting by some local politicians. We stood our ground and made sure that this would never happen again. January 2022, this marked the third year that the Pasungay festivity, a 100-year-old tradition in this province in the Philippines, had stopped and had not continued the tradition. Clearly, social media campaign or the social media campaigns we did was able to raise awareness and triggered action. But coupled with other strategies, we were able to put more meaningful result. That is the stopping of cruelty against these lovely creatures. So what are our major takeaway for this presentation? Social media is an important tool for digital activism. With responsible use and coupled with good social media content and material, it can deliver a strong message and promote social awareness on various farm animal welfare issues. While there are some risks involved, the benefit of social media activism is far greater. Social media can bring about a more meaningful change if it is coupled with other media and physical activities. With this, I'd like to end my presentation with this sweet victory announcement. We posted this material on social media just last Sunday. A horse fight was supposed to be scheduled on October 4, which coincides with the World Animal Day. Again, this horse fight is part of a festivity or celebration in another local municipality in Mindanao. While I was preparing this presentation, I received a call from the mayor that they are not pursuing with the horse fight anymore. Another victory for the horses. With this, I'd like to thank you for listening, and I hope that you were able to gain valuable insights from my presentation. Thank you. Maraming salamat po.
All right, thank you very much, Heidi and Diane, again for your presentations. So right now, I open up spaces for anyone. If you have questions or comments, please feel free to put the right hands button or type them on the Q&A chat box. So I got some questions from here. So I'll go over question to Diane first. So first is, does MFA has any awareness of the volume of animal killed for food, which could be unregulated? For example, outside of FAO statistics that you share, I know there's some of other large Asian countries like China. The portion is considered to be quite high for animal rights in rural setting where they're not easily reached by regulation. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you for the question. It's quite hard to monitor the number of animals that are killed because we are a country of 1.2 billion people, so meat consumption is really high. The only valid way to kind of get data considering the number of animals that are killed is via the FAO. And FAO does not just measure the number of animals killed only in India, but even country specific. So if you want to find out the number of animals killed in Thailand or in Philippines or in some other country, you'll get data for that as well. Plus, there are overall statistics that are also presented. So because the FAO is a part of the UN, they kind of have the resources to come up with estimates as to how many animals are killed. And accordingly, you can use that data because it's more reliable of sorts in your advocacy effort. So yeah.
Thank you, Diane. So the next question for you is, what would it be the best approach for dealing with negative comments from the publics, from who that not support your missions? Social media is public, so it can be a fine line between engaging with skeptical people and people who are there to challenge you.
This is a question for me, right?
Yes.
Okay. See, the most important thing to understand here is that you need to be consultative rather than combative. Always meet people where they are and not where you want to see them. we live in a world where the majority of people around us are non-vegans, right? The number of vegetarians itself across the world, as per I think World Economic Forum, I guess, was just 4%, 4 to 5%, and these are not even vegans; these are vegetarians. So I think the number of vegans around the world will be less than 1%. So ideally, what we want to do, like in very practical terms, is to inspire people to come over to our side, and the only way to do it is by showing a lot of patience. um what you can do is generally, and I know that there are always two groups of people, one that is open to change and one that isn't. The one that isn't open to change, we really can't do anything, because some people just tend to be very rigid in their views, and then cognitive dissonance plays a part, and then that makes them a little bit incorrigible, I guess. But for those who can change, that is the first group of people. What you can do is present facts, and when you present facts from credible groups and organizations. Um, Always remember that in many cases, um, emotional responses uh, work less effectively as compared to data. So always give a little more importance to data than you would to appealing to someone's emotions. But always note that there are some people who are more likely to be drawn by emotions as well. So don't entirely kind of sideline that out. Know who you're arguing with or talking with. Let's say if someone leaves a comment on your social media page, all you have to do is tap on the person's profile. You can more or less judge, I guess, people based on the profile that they have, although your assumptions may not always be accurate, and accordingly tailor a nice approach to kind of um, can come up with a nice approach to kind of resolve their queries and educate them about veganism. And most importantly, just note that never get into an argument or a fight, or use foul language, because then it kind of makes it makes people label vegans or farm animal people as bad or aggressive or things like that. It just reinforces negative stereotypes about us. So if you feel that the discussion or dialogue isn't going anywhere, just ignore, I guess. But yeah, try your best to convince them.
Thank you, Diane. So may I switch questions to Heidi? How do you gauge the success of content when tasting on social media? What metrics that you use?
We usually check our analytics, our and then see also we also read and check our comments and see whether people are really engaging, or they're just sharing, or they may have valuable inputs as well. From there we can gauge that the messaging, the content is successful. More often in using social media, um, analytics or um, all usually measures the reach of your campaign material. But other than that, other than the reach, it's also important to look at the contents of the comments, the number of shares, and get as much as possible valuable insights or valuable comments or inputs that people posts as in their reactions or comments.
Thank you. As we still have a couple minutes, are we? Yeah. So I got questions, the last two questions to Diane. Very quick. Okay. So Diane, regarding to having celebrity raising the awareness through the platform, is it difficult to reach each of them? Do they charge on helping the post? And also, do you find it's made more impact from having celebrity posts?
Okay, this is a good question. Um, since um, since we are a farm animal protection organization, all of the work that we do is pro bono. So we celebrities don't charge us anything whatsoever. for raising awareness. And even if they had to charge us, I don't think we could afford it because I mean the kind of reach that they have, it's going to be an insane amount. So I think celebrities that we have worked with have been really kind, to raise awareness. Um, yeah, as I said, for example, John Abraham had 6 million followers, so that's quite huge. Like, and also we must remember that in India, we are a little bit of a reverent country. Like we look up to people, we create idols amongst ourselves, right? And people really look up to celebrities as gods in some way. And the best way to take your message across to a wider audience is via celebrities, right? For example, there's this uh, following our collaboration with John. Um, he appeared on a very popular show. It's called Kaun Banega Crorepati. So it's like a quiz show where you can win a prize if you answer all your questions correctly. And through that, through that TV show, he made an appeal to the public to support the No More 50 campaign, that is to raise penalty for first-time offenders for animal cruelty. Now, this is a law that hasn't been changed in 60 years, since our independence. So, that kind of so that very act kind of made people, remember remember, you know, for the work that John had done with us previously at MFA. So it kind of all adds up, I guess. And I guess you also had another question as to how hard or easy it is to reach celebrities. In our case, the head of our organization, Nikunj, used to work with Gita. He used to be the head of the public policy department, and he knew John since those days. When John was a rising star, so he was very new in the film industry, and he was kind of gaining credibility at the time. And now he's kind of like a superstar. So we kind of build these relationships early on. So if you have any upcoming actors or actresses in your region, start building, relationships with them. You never know, maybe in the next 10 years, they might be big, and maybe you might be at a much higher role in another organization, or maybe in the same organization that you're working. But you can always pass on those contacts to your colleagues and peers who work with you. And if you want to get in touch with celebs, the best way is to go through Instagram on your phone, not on desktop. There'll be like a contact option there, and they generally mention their manager's email address. So that's one way you can get in touch with them. Or in India, we have an app called TFI, the Film India app. So all film stars and their agents have their numbers listed there. It's a paid app subscription on a yearly basis. From there, you can get numbers and then call up celeb agents. Fix maybe a location for meeting and then take things forward.
Thank you, Diane. So as we still have some times and I still have some couple questions left, shall we go for it? The next question from Heidi. How important do you think it is to provide call to action to followers to increase the engagement in campaigns?
Oh, yeah. It's important to always have a call to action in every material or campaign that you're posting, because otherwise you are not able to engage your followers or supporters. They will just read it and that's it. If you put the call to action, you are involving your followers, you are engaging them to do something, and then that feeling that they are being called upon to do something and they would act on that call to action is gives them that feeling of involvement, engagement, and of course that feeling that they were able to do something. Of course, this is not slacktivism, because when they do share, when they do something, and then there's this collective effort raises into a viral or sensational matter, again, this will result to rousing information, to rousing awareness in social media. Still, it's very helpful. That's why I would suggest that you always put a call to action in your materials.
Thank you, Heidi. So our last question that we have for Diane, do you think that is widespread resistant to AMR messagings in the mass media because it challenged the animal agriculture industry, which is possibly the biggest industry on earth? I think our movement did try to push this AMR message in the wake of the pandemic, but I'm not sure how well it's penetrated.
Thank you. This is a very important question. I mean, I think you posed the problem in the question itself. Are people more resistant to the messaging because, you know, because yeah, I mean, it's true. I think collectively organizations have not kind of highlighted this as much as they should have. In fact, The Guardian had a couple of reports around AMR. I think there was one article about China being AMR zone, like a massive problem, and even the northeast of India, posing huge problems. There is, I think, an antibiotic. I think it's called Coltan, if I'm not mistaken. It's very widely used in India in chicken farm, and it poses a huge risk. And because AMR is such an issue, it's much harder to produce antibiotics to treat several diseases. I mean, we must, raise awareness collectively. All farm animal organizations should actually, because it's a public health issue, right? And I don't know, at least in India, it's the government's duty to ensure public health. So, I mean, you can even appeal to legislative bodies in your respective countries, see what can be done, what provisions you can get in to kind of change this. But yeah, the end goal is to kind of phase out animal agriculture completely as much as possible. But I think because of the pandemic, a lot of awareness started coming across because everyone saw, the impact that COVID-19 had. So many people were falling ill. I think when people go through a certain tragedy sometimes and we see things in front of their eyes, things automatically become more relatable. I would also say that a lot of vegan businesses started coming up after the pandemic, and more people started going vegan because it's at that focal point that people started understanding it. So yeah, I think it's just a matter of raising awareness. These are things that remain in silos and corners with very few people having knowledge or access. So I think if more individuals, more of your friends, if you could use your personal profiles, Instagram, Facebook profiles to talk about AMR, I don't see why more people would, start gaining awareness around it.
So thank you, Diane, again, and also Heidi for answering all the questions that we have today. I'm so glad that a lot of people were interested in these sessions with many questions. But I guess we are running out of time and it's time for me to ending this part. Thank you very much again, Diane and Heidi, for your amazing presentation. And also thank you everyone for your attentions as well. I hope we learned a lot from today's talk and continue to work in this field effectively for better animal welfare together. So may I pass it back to Nok? Thank you everyone and see you around.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for coming today. Thank you, John, Diane, and Heidi. Thank you for the wonderful sessions.
Thank you, Nog, and thank you, Jan, as well, for hosting this.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Goodbye, everyone. See you in the next sessions.
Bye. Have a nice day.